You already know that you need to stop jerking off if you are to step into your personal power and purpose as a man, but you just can't help yourself. And so in this video, I'm going to give you the 3 reasons on why this is the case so that you can elevate your awareness, which will help you elevate your choices, which will hopefully elevate your results as well. So the question is, why can we know what to do but still not do what we know? I reflect on this question so much because if we could just get ourselves to do the things that we know we're supposed to do on a regular basis, then our results in our life would be very different. Our health would be very different. Our income would be very different. Our relationships would be very, very different. But the question is, why don't we do things that serve us, and why is it so easy to engage in behaviors, in thought patterns, in emotions, in activities that don't serve us, right? So it really starts with understanding how the brain works, right? So a habit is anything that is easier to do than not to do, right? And the fact of the matter is that good habits are hard to develop but easy to live with, but bad habits are easy to develop but hard to live with, right? It all comes down to you having awareness of how you feel about yourself when you are by yourself. And if you feel those emotions of anxiety, of regret, of disillusionment, of shame, of guilt, or if you're just constantly distracting yourself from those emotions, you're constantly escaping, you're going into the entertainment, then it's really about you living out of alignment, out of harmony with what you already know you are here for, right? When our thoughts, words, and behaviors are in alignment, that is when we experience those higher states of emotion. When they are not, is when we fall to that lower level. And those emotions that we're experiencing is really a signal for us to shine the light of our awareness on the things that we are doing that we're not supposed to be doing, that we already know in our heart are not serving us, but we just can't stop, right? So the way that the brain works, the way that a habit is formed, is through the principle of what gets rewarded gets repeated. Okay, it has to do with that of dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter which motivates human behavior, right? Anything that you do on repeated basis is because you get a dopamine spike from it. And anytime that you bust a nut, you get a spike from it, and it feels good in the moment, but it robs you of your vitality, of your manhood, of your creativity, of your ability to create a change in your life over the long term. Okay, because the reason for this is we as human beings have been wired for instant gratification, and that is because our evolution has not been able to keep up with the exponential evolution of technology. We have gone to the point where we are able to have an abundance of all these things, like pornography, like food, like TV, like video games that give us that instant gratification. That is something that our ancestor, our limbic system, right, our mammalian brain is not used to, which it has been wired to favor that instant reward, because we didn't know if we're going to survive tomorrow. We didn't know if we're going to get eaten tomorrow. So our goal was just to survive, to reproduce, to spill our seed. And therefore, the powers that be that have created pornography are well aware of this. And for this reason, it is just so easy to go down that path. And the more we go down that path, the easier it is to do it again, right? There is a principle in neuroplasticity which says that nerve cells that fire together wire together, which basically means that each time that you jerk off, the harder it will be for you to stop the next time. When you do it the next time, it's going to be harder even more, right? So what gets rewarded gets repeated. And if you are rewarding yourself for that instant gratification, then that is just the way that you're wiring your brain. That is just what will get repeated over the long term. Okay, so it ultimately comes down to this. I do repeat myself on this channel because I know that this is something I need to work on myself. And I know that if you really embody this, versus just understand it intellectually, only then will it make a difference in your life, right? So what gets rewarded gets repeated. And if you can set yourself up to experience rewards, to really cherish the rewards that are associated with the hard thing, if you can really draw the connection between following through with the workout and how you feel after it, if you really draw the connection between eating healthy foods in the moment and how that makes you feel in the long term, if you draw the connection between the increased amounts of energy and vitality that you experience when you preserve and retain your seed, and you draw that connection over the long term, then you will be that much more susceptible to doing the right thing over the easy thing, because what gets rewarded gets repeated, right? This is very, very dangerous, because if you're going in the other direction, which is rewarding yourself for things that don't serve you, then it'll be way harder to break out of them, because like I said, nerve cells that fire together wire together. Your brain literally becomes wired for that behavior, because apparently it thinks that it's going to help it survive and reproduce. But we are living in the age of super stimulus, whereby the stimulus, which is very rewarding and very attractive to our caveman limbic system brain, is not serving us. It's actually destroying our well-being in the long term. Okay, so understand that what gets rewarded gets repeated. Now, the second thing is the neuroplasticity in your brain. Okay, if they've run brain scans, there's been thousands of studies on this. You can check out a book called Your Brain on Prawn, right? Check that book out. They go deep into all the studies and all the research, but ultimately it comes down to this: the gray matter in your brain, which is the seat of your willpower, literally gets hijacked when you bust nuts to pixels on a screen. Okay, that's not something I'm making up. I link out to the study below as well. You can check that out. When they ran the studies, when they ran the brain scans, and they found that men that engage in pornography actually had less amounts of gray matter in their brain, which means that they actually had less willpower, which means it's a negative feedback loop. The more that you watch porn, the more that you have your gray matter hijacked, the less willpower that you have, and the harder it becomes for you to stop watching, right? So if you are down the path like I was, where I would tell myself every single day, today is the last day, but then I just couldn't do it, then it's really because the gray matter in your brain has been wired, right? And it really comes down to this, right? We as human beings are more likely to move towards something that helps us avoid pain, which I'm helping you understand the pain with this, the pain with going down this path. And if you go down this path even one step more, it's going to be harder for you to turn back. And the more that you go down that path, the harder it's going to be for you to turn back. Because I want you to understand the critical importance for you to stop this habit right here, right now. Yes, I've provided a lot of benefits on this channel, but it's very important for you to associate pain with this behavior so that you can let go of it, okay? Because ultimately it comes down to the third reason, which Napoleon Hill would describe as the law of hypnotic rhythm, which relates back to that of, the neuroplasticity. What gets rewarded gets repeated, but our thought patterns get repeated over time as well, right? Nature, as Napoleon Hill would describe, actually strengthens the behaviors that we repeat again and again and again. It takes on the nature of rhythm. And he says that eventually, if it takes on the proportions of rhythm, then it's impossible to break that habit. Okay, so I hope that you have not reached that point right now. Okay, and it really comes down to the story that you're telling yourself, because you tell yourself that I have reached that point and that I'm beyond repair, then chances are that will become a self-fulfilling prophecy for you. But if you tell yourself that this is my responsibility, that I have it within me, that I have the power to choose to let go of this, and that I'm not reaching that, and then that will become a self-fulfilling prophecy as well, okay? So understand the damage this is doing to your life. Draw the connection between the damage this is doing to your life over the long term. Draw the connection between the benefits you will experience if you stop this right here, right now, and transmute that towards creating your life anew. And that is what is going to help you, right? Like I said, new awareness leads to new choices, will lead to new results. And it really comes down to having an awareness of the negative side effects first and foremost, because we will do more to avoid pain than we will to gain pleasure, right? It's a difference between an aspirin and a vitamin, right? An aspirin, you have a headache right now, you have a migraine, you're going to go seek out that aspirin. But if I tell you, hey, take this vitamin, it's going to make you feel amazing, you're like, I'm all good right now, I don't really need a vitamin, right? So that is the difference. Like, this is a poison pill, right? Pornography is poison for your brain. It's hijacking your capacity to choose growth over comfort, to choose education over entertainment, to choose what serves you versus what doesn't. It damages every area of your life. So I hope that you take this to heart. I hope you understand, have an awareness of what it is doing to your brain, so that you can eventually learn to let go of this, okay? And if you want to join, losing my voice there. If you want to join us inside a community where we're coming together to let go of destructive behaviors by getting clarity on what is important to us, so that we can have the discipline to follow through on it consistently, then I encourage you to check out the Monk Mode Challenge. Okay, go to monkmodechallenge.com. I'm walking you through that every single day to get through the daily missions to implement, right? It's not about more information, it's about implementation. So I will leave a link down in the description as well. You can open up a new tab, go to monkmodechallenge.com if you want my help around this, but make sure that you take responsibility for this, so that you can let go of these behaviors and step into your personal power, your path, your purpose as a man. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to leave you in the peace and power of the one infinite creator, and I will catch you in the next one. Much love to you. Take care.